guys, I'm back for another video, and welcome to another Hypixel Skyblock tutorial. And today, I'm here to show off 23 clever tips for progression in the game. Before this video starts, please be sure to use code ThirtyVirus in the Hypixel Store if you were to purchase any gems or cookies. It helps me out a lot and costs you nothing. But without further ado, let's go. The first tip is for the Crystal Hollows. I'm in the Lost Precursor City right now, and the first tip is that you can actually disable the traps in this area. For example, if I were to take my jungle pickaxe here, there's actually a spot right underneath this tripwire where you can break the blocks underneath the string and it will disable the trap. This is useful if you're grinding robot parts and you don't want to get bothered by the traps. Also, if we head over here, you can actually block the arrow trap with cobblestone. It looks really funny, but you can actually just, there you go, completely disable that trap. I head over here, break another tripwire. Now, the reason why I'm breaking the entire thing is that sometimes the trap will still go off even if the tripwire is broken. So there you go. And I believe there's one other spot over here where you can do the same thing. Right here. There we go. Now try to break the side of the block as opposed to the top because the string actually blocks it. Speaking of the Precursor Ruins, the second tip is actually a pretty funny one. So once you get over to Professor Robot, sometimes this little chamber will spawn automatons and you can't reach them. As it turns out, you can literally just right click on these blocks and they go away. They're like a ghost block kind of, but or the opposite of a ghost block. You can see them until you just right click and then boom, you're allowed in here. Can't collect the crystal though until you actually give the guy all the parts, but this would be good just to, you know, kill automatons to spawn in here. You might have noticed that I've been wearing a witch mask throughout this entire experience with 3/4 crystal on. So the reason why is because the witch mask is actually OP. It's so good for getting kills quickly on automatons, for example. Boom, you get just as good an RNG chance to drop stuff. I've just from like a couple hours of grinding robot parts, I have almost 20 of every piece except for the synthetic hearts. But yeah, so you can grind these parts by just running around doing nothing. Now, of course, I like to use a Dreadlord sword as well. But yeah, doing this just speeds up the process. Of course, I can kill as many automatons as I like this, but sometimes I miss one and then the bats will get it. So it's going to speed up your grind substantially when grinding for robot parts. It's very convenient. Would recommend everybody do this. Also, Battle Pet contributes too, but it doesn't do enough damage. But yeah, so this is like the only option I've seen so far that actually does the damage to one tap these things. Also, I should note this also works with any of the Slayer comms. For example, Team Treasurite, goblins. Even if you're in the Dwarven Mines as opposed to Crystal Hollows, you can also get goblin kills with the witch mask. Now, it can't really be AFK'd. The bats stop killing things after you start AFKing, but if you're running around, then of course you'll just get kills this way. It's pretty good. And I even got a Robotron reflector while just recording this, and I might even get another part right now. Here's a quick one that I forgot from last tips video. So as it turns out, double powder not only applies to mithril. This is a tip from this is an update from a tip in the previous tutorial. So as it turns out, double daily powder is what I call the trick. Not only works on mithril, as you can see in Crystal Hollows, but it also works on gemstones. I didn't mention this, but yeah, you can get double powder every day, double daily, on both gemstone and mithril ores, and not just in Dwarven Mines but also in Crystal Hollows, so that is worth noting. And for those that don't know, you can enable and disable daily powder, wait until double powder lobby, then do that. Oh my god, it took like a half an hour to find a freaking lobby. This game, it hates me right now. Anyways, hi, welcome back 30 minutes later. The next tip, I know this is a mine of Devon that's completely mined out, but it took me 20 minutes to find it and I need 5 seconds of footage, so I don't care. But anyways, yeah, so there's a cool little trick. If you're trying to get gold quickly from Mines of Devon, put on your mineral armor set, and if you don't have one, get it. And you can actually mine the gold. You can instant mine the blocks underneath the gold, and as you can see, the mineral armor's ability will actually break the gold. Now, I wish I could show this in a full lobby where the gold isn't mined out, but again, beggars can't be choosers. It took me 20 minutes to find this lobby. Here's a good spot. So yeah, look at that. This is a quick way to get gold if your mining speed isn't very high. You just need at least 1500 mining speed to break the hardstone underneath the gold, and you can efficient mine your way through it with the mineral armor. So I guess this is the second tip that involves breaking a block underneath something in order to get a special effect, and it's not the last one, believe it or not. Oh, also the same idea works with the redstone blocks. With the emerald blocks, they break faster than gold, but the efficient miner ability will actually still break the gold around it, so it's a fast way to get the gold. Here's another interesting tip that involves breaking a block underneath something. So if you want to get quick cactus collection for, I don't know, silver medals, or maybe, I don't know, you just need a minion, you can break the sand underneath the cactus for a slightly faster break instead of using a hoe. Now, granted, this way you don't actually get smelting touch, but if you have a an agronomy sack, then it's not so bad. But yeah, so you can with haste and efficiency, you can break the block underneath the cactus to break it faster. So it's a pretty well-known strat that if you need certain ores quickly and you don't have access to crystal hollows, or maybe your mining speed's not fast enough to instant mine hardstone, whatever, you can get diamonds, lapis, gold, emerald, whatever, if you were to mine the carts. As you can see, the ores grow back, but there isn't one for iron or coal or redstone. So there's actually spots where you can find these ores. So it might not be a cart, but there are a few convenient spots. So one example that I always like to do is over here. This is a great spot for iron. I like to stand right here next to the jump pad, and then you could just mine out all of the iron. And again, with mineral armor, it makes things nice and fast. So you could just, if I back off a little bit, there we go. So yeah, this is a good spot for iron. There's a little bit of coal too, but it's not the greatest spot. Now, as far as I know, there are a few good spots for most ores in the far reserve. So the spot that my chat told me for coal is up here, and you have all of this. Now, it's a little bit more annoying because you actually have to move around and loop around things. But yeah, there's 3 spots for coal right up here. But again, if you can insta-mine hardstone, I would highly suggest that you just mine coal in the crystal hollows, because all drops are multiplied there. But, if this is the best you got, then these are the spots for you. Now, there's also a few spots that have mine carts with stuff in them. Let me see if I can find it. So this spot down here is also very good for redstone if that's what you need. As you can see, a strat that I like to use when fishing is to find a lobby that has someone with a corrupt totem. Unfortunately, there isn't a person here. I'm wearing my 3/4 salmon, and I have my witch mask again. Now, the cool thing about corrupt totem is it increases the health of every sea creature that is fished up. Now, during things like spooky fishing or marina, what happens is everybody can crowd around a mob, get a ton of hits on it, and most people can loot share. Now, my favorite way of loot sharing is, again, with the witch mask. They will blow up, for example, if a great white shark spawns, and I don't even have to move. The bats will blow up around him. I'll get a big chunk of damage, and then I can loot share the drops. This is how I got literally like 8 great white shark teeth before I could even have the fishing level or collection required to even craft anything with them other than talisman. It was ridiculous. But yeah, so would highly recommend. Also, it just helps make fishing faster when you do that. I wish I could find a lobby with a corrupt totem, but I've already spent like 30 minutes of this recording searching for things so far, so I'm just gonna press forward. Here's some tips for Bestiary if you're trying to get to combat 24 quickly. The hub zombies right here in the graveyard actually count in the Bestiary menu as zombies on the private island, which will significantly increase how fast you can max out Bestiary to 5 on that. Very convenient, would recommend doing that. And Again, if you have a witch mask like me, which by the way you get by doing well in a spooky festival, I think a lot of us knew that, but just in case you didn't, the witch mask is also great if you're trying to get bestiary for sneaky creepers. Now it's also good to have Bal Pet too if you have that. So Bal Pet combined with the witch mask, as you can see, boom, just killed a sneaky creeper. And I've already gotten my bestiary up to 4 with these. And it's nice, you know, by this point in the game, obviously, you're probably going to have Combat 24 already, but it will be nice to give your pets a big chunk of combat XP. And finally, since again, I've been searching so freaking long, I'm just going to tell you about this one. The Bal fight in Crystal Hollows spawns blazes every now and again. He farts them out. Those blazes actually count towards the regular blaze bestiary in Crimson Isle, so you can actually get your blaze bestiary fairly high without ever actually going there. It's pretty good. Those same blazes also can be used to get blaze powder if you're on Iron Man, so you can craft yourself an AOTE without actually going to Crystal Hollows. It is pretty good. All right, without going to Crimson Isle, you have to go to Crystal Hollows. In my fastest progression guide in Hypixel Skyblock video, I talk about how you can make 14 million coins by using a cobblestone generator on your private island and then getting rock pets and selling them to George, right? If you haven't seen that video, would highly recommend. It's basically how to rocket jump your way to mid-game. It's pretty great. But anyways, if you do that strategy, you lose out on your legendary rock pet, which, you know, if you're trying to be a completionist and have every pet in the game, it's not that great. It's not that useful of a pet, but you know, pet score, whatever. So what you can do to compensate for that is bingo profiles. You can actually do the same exact strategy on bingo. I would suggest instead of getting to Combat 24, going to Crimson Isles, getting glowstone, you're probably better off just wearing a minor armor set and getting a stonk for 600,000 coin or 500,000 coin. It's expensive, but you know, it's probably your best bet for doing it quickly on a bingo. But anyways, you can do the same strategy on a bingo profile, and then once you are done with it, you can transfer a select number of items to whatever other profile you have. For example, for me, Iron Man. So yeah, even without access to the auction house, you can still get yourself a replacement legendary rock by doing that. It's pretty good. So speaking of Crystal Hollows, in the jungle, there are some rooms that spawn with lily pads. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like this is one of them, but if you find a room that is not the jungle temple room, then you can actually break the lily pads in the river and they will respawn, and it's a quick way to get collection for a lily pad without fishing up sea creatures. Now again, can't demonstrate this one because there's none here, but I think there's like literally 1 or 2 rooms in the entire Crystal Hollows for jungle that actually spawns lily pads that you can break. I swear it exists. I've tested it on stream. It's not the fastest, but it is faster than early game fishing for getting a lily pad collection in case you wanted to get a rod of champions or whatever. It's pretty good. I'm just gonna speak this tip out because I don't know. But anyways, if you're doing a jungle temple run for a nucleus run, what you can actually do is, if you want to not consume an extra key after running the parkour, you can use an ascension rope to teleport back to where you came in from and then return to the jungle temple, and the door will still be open, which is like insanely OP. So yeah, you can basically get a crystal nucleus run done without using the key. So you can get your nucleus run, get your drops, and then go back into the temple without spending a key, which is nice. It's going to save you like 2 minutes per run, essentially, because you'd have to go grind a key otherwise. This also works with the travel scroll to the crystal nucleus. If you just teleport out of the thing without if you jungle out of the oh my god, if you use the travel scroll to the nucleus to escape the temple instead of pulling the lever, then there you go, you will leave without closing the door behind you. Also, you know, ascension rope, travel scroll to nucleus is nice if you want to just, you know, let's say you fall in lava and you need to quickly click on something. Like maybe you hold an ascension rope in your hand, and if you like get hit, you fall, you're about to hit lava, right click, it'll save your key for you instead of just, you know, teleporting you outside the thing and failing the run. This is quite a funny I'd like to call it a cheese. Speaking of cheese, we have sponge. They look like cheese, right? Anyways, there's a funny little trick that you can do to get sponge collection extremely fast. Now, this is like a pretty severe bug, so it's probably not going to last long, but try it and see what happens. I have a hyper furnace here. This will work with a regular furnace. Now, for example, right, if we look at my fishing collection sponge, it is at 2185. Now if I throw this in here, 2217. So as you can see, I just got sponge collection by smelting a wet sponge in a furnace and then pulling out the sponge. Yeah, that doesn't seem intentional, but yeah, I use this to get artificially high sponge collection. As you can see, I can almost afford a sea creature artifact, which is way earlier than normal, considering I'm only like fishing 20. So yeah, that's a cool little thing that's probably not going to last long. If like me, you were trying to speed run getting a snow minion to tier 11, and you know, the first 5 tiers of minion upgrade are just way too slow, there's actually a little tool that you can use if I could find it. It's called the snow shovel. You get it from, if you go to the hub mountain, at the top, at the peak of the mountain up here, there's actually a dude that will sell you a snow shovel, I believe. Yeah, his name is Scoop. But yeah, so you can buy the shovel and place it down, and this is a way to get free snowballs. Now this is helpful because you can craft those snowballs into snow blocks, spend those snow blocks to upgrade a snow minion. It's not going to be very efficient for any high tier upgrades of the minion, but let's say, you know, you really quickly want to get, I don't know, a tier 4, tier 6 snow minion. This will do the job. Now, here's probably the biggest of big brain strategies in this entire video, so listen up. So, I'm only fishing 20, like I said. So, regardless of that, I actually ended up getting a bronze hunter, trophy hunter set. So, this is something that you get from Odger at the top of the volcano. It's a very useful set because it essentially makes it so that you don't fish up sea creatures, which will make trophy fishing a lot easier. But this set has a hidden extra benefit that I did not know about. So I was chilling in a Discord and someone told me that I can 10-star the bronze hunter armor. Apparently you can do that. Crimson Isle stuff can be starred similar to dungeon stuff, but with crimson stuff. Now, this doesn't actually require crimson essence. It requires about 6 million coins, as far as I know. It's fairly easy. But anyway, if you 10-star the hunter armor set and then get enough trophy fish at Odger to upgrade your trophy armor from bronze to silver to gold, stay with me on this one, you've upgraded your same 10-star bronze hunter set to gold. You could then salvage your newly acquired 10-star gold hunter armor, and once you do so, you will get enough magma fish to craft the best fishing rod in the game. You would get enough, I believe it's diamond magma fish. You will get enough of those to craft yourself a Hellfire rod, as well as a few of the lower tier fishing rods as well. You get so many magma fish, it is actually ridiculous. I plan on doing this on my Iron Man profile because obviously Hellfire rod would be a great thing to have and I can't just buy it. So yeah, I'm definitely doing that, and you should too. Here's one a lot of you probably already knew. If you go into the booster cookie menu, toggle potion effects, you can toggle potion effects. This is helpful if you don't have rancher boots and you're trying to farm on the private island. You can turn off adrenaline, turn off agility, 278% speed. That's just over the amount that you need in order to farm pumpkins. There we go. So if you mess around with the speed potion effects, you can get very specific amounts of speed. I have 318%, which is pretty close to the 327% speed required to farm cane forwards backwards at max efficiency. Now I believe if I were to turn off a specific, I don't know, but there's ways to get, there's various combinations that will get you very close to the required amount for fishing, or fishing for forward. No. There's very specific speeds you can get this way without the rancher boots for farming. It's pretty good. Also, if you hate the night vision effect from the night vision charm, you can turn that off. I have that permanently off because it's a really ugly looking effect. Here's an interesting tip for building on the private island. I know a lot of people struggle when it comes to building farms using the builder's wand, block zapper, whatever. Here's a tip that could be helpful for you if you're trying to get very precise height levels when building. For example, when you are butterfly clicking constantly to place sugarcane because they didn't add a sugarcane bag of seeds for some stupid reason. In that scenario, it's kind of annoying because you have to get a very perfect height that's like really close to the ground so that you can fly backwards while butterfly clicking to place the cane. Takes forever, right? Well, as it turns out, if you have an AOTE, you can just do this. While you're flying, you can teleport straight down and it will bring you as humanly close to standing on the floor while still flying. This way you get the perfect speed in order to actually place blocks, or in this case, cane. Bop, 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 bop. So I'm still flying literally as close as I can get to the floor, which is super helpful. This is also good. I remember when I was placing the sea lanterns here, that was super helpful. Just teleport like that with the AOTE and I get the perfect height to butterfly click to place lanterns. So yeah, teleporting with AOTE straight into the floor is a great way to get your spacing right for building on the private island. Another trick that is really difficult for me to explain is, as you can see for this bean farm, I placed a bunch of slabs so that I don't go underneath the logs when farming cocoa bean, right? Now, this takes a long time because you'd think, well, you have to individually place every single slab, right? A butterfly click while running backwards or flying backwards like I just described. Go like this, boop, boop. And then it's like, oh, let me just... Right? Well, that would have taken a really, really, really long time. Now, I have a strategy that actually is slightly faster. It's not that much faster. So basically, here's how it works. I call it negative slab placement. So instead of placing one line of slabs at a time, you just use a builder's wand to place the whole layer of slabs, even the space where you don't want slabs. Just place with a builder's wand cover the floor in slabs, right? And then what you can do is get a block zapper or a pickaxe and remove the slabs that you don't want to have and then leave behind the ones you do want to have. So this is like a negative building strategy, and it's actually way faster to break several rows of slab. It's faster to do that than to place individually, if that makes sense. And with the block zapper, it could be significantly faster. So yeah, negative building. It's very helpful. As you can see, I have a lot of experience building farms. This is my Iron Man. On my solo profile, I built 20 full width farm layers, and I use that method quite often. I also did it here. I placed the whole layer of slabs over the melon farm, and then I just took out the parts that I didn't want slabs, like above the sea lanterns, above the melons. Speaking of the block zapper, there's actually a strategy if you want to get really fast mycelium collection. Now, what you could do is use the infinite dirt wand and a builder's wand, place a big flat layer of dirt, and then place a couple of mycelium. As per vanilla mechanics, the mycelium will spread throughout the entire layer that you've placed, and then you can use a block zapper to collect all of that mycelium extremely quickly. So I'm probably going to do that on my Iron Man because I need to get corrupt soil and gauntlet of contagion, and I don't feel like mining manually for all of that. So yeah, it's a good little hack, I guess. Here's a strategy I discovered by accident while playing on my Iron Man. There are some pets, for example, the ocelot, which I do have legendary, or the rabbit, that are actually, you're probably better off keeping it epic because it has the same XP boost as legendary, except it's much faster to level to 100, therefore getting the maximum XP boost. So if you want a pet that, you know, is supposed to be epic, I heard snail is the same way. What you can actually do is, instead of crafting the pet with a super enchanted egg, you can guarantee that it's a lower rarity by crafting it with a regular enchanted egg and then upgrading a cat from rare to epic. Now, I've done this for a different reason, actually. I just didn't have enough eggs to to roll for a legendary or epic pet, so I opted into, you know, a lower rarity. But it's nice. You know, I wouldn't recommend it on things like the wolf because, again, you want the legendary and it's very expensive to upgrade. But some pets, you know, like the rabbit, it's very cheap to upgrade. Might as well use a regular enchanted egg. Save the super enchanted eggs for the more important pets, like I would say wither skeleton, wolf, and that sort of thing. Going back to the crystal hollows, there is a tip that I have that's pretty neat. So if I go into waypoints here, I have Badline Client installed, so I have a bunch of waypoints. Now you're probably like, why would I have waypoints for a place that's randomly generated? Well, as it turns out, in the crystal hollows, all ores are actually not randomly generated. Everything, including coal, iron, gemstones, even like what is that, jade, and as you can see by the waypoints, ruby. All of these ores actually, they spawn in the same location every lobby throughout every crystal hollows lobby. So this is pretty useful because what it means is you can find spots that have higher than normal concentrations of certain gemstones or even certain ores. You can waypoint those locations, and then once you enter the crystal hollows, you can find them. So for this example, I'm going to go to Ruby Gemstones 2, which is a spot I found by accident. This is where I got 3 out of the 8 fine ruby, or no, perfect ruby gemstones. Flawless ruby gemstones for the gauntlet. As you can see, we're only 50 blocks away. So this is a spot with higher than normal concentrations of ruby. Now, obviously, if I dig it out using the mole perk, then I can find myself a whole bunch of rubies. It'll actually be even faster if I use armadillo. So as you can see, right next to the waypoint, there's already one big vein right here. Then I just go around. There's a topaz right there. Now, I don't think I picked the best spot for Ruby Gemstone 2, but there are definitely other spots in a close vicinity here. I think I have to dig up or down. Maybe I placed the waypoint badly. Here's another one. Yep. Okay, well, there was only one gemstone here. Here, I have a better example, actually. Let's go to Ruby Gemstone 1. This is the famous spot that everybody goes to, basically, and it's always dug out. There's always some angry player there that basically is like a bear. You poke the bear, you're gonna get bitten. People are very defensive over this spot. There is no way that no one dug out Ruby Gemstone 1 in this lobby. There's literally no way. The one time I want to demonstrate how competitive it is, there's no one here. Wow, I actually found a fresh lobby. As you can see, the gemstone concentration here is absolutely ridiculous. See, I barely started mining here, and I've already found 4 separate veins of rubies. 5. And like I said, this is always the same every single lobby. Now, I'm not going to tell the specific coordinates, sorry. You can look that up on Discords and stuff. I mean, you could probably extrapolate based on the spot in the mini-map. But yeah, so this is a really, really good spot for ruby. And there's a whole bunch just like it for all the different gemstones, not just ruby. There's topaz spots, there's jade spots, although you're probably best with Mines of Devon. There's sapphire spots, there, you know, amethyst spots, whatever. So yeah. Now, the final suggestion for this video is that there is a way to get really fast experience orbs. Now, the way you do that is with my friend over here, the armadillo pet. Now, what you do is you go into the crystal hollows and you find yourself a mithril deposit. So you go over here with the armadillo. So what you do is you actually put on lapis armor, since it gives you a 200% experience bonus from mining ores. All right, so he doesn't have much energy, so it's going to be hard to demonstrate this, but here we go. As you can see, you get a ton of experience orbs and a lot of mining XP by just breaking mithril deposits like this one. And he's out of energy again. I swear he's better than that. It's just because I used it to find the ruby spot. Well, anyways, that's it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. That was 23 clever tips for Hypixel Skyblock progression. Again, if you're going to be buying anything in the Hypixel Store, use code ThirtyVirus. It helps me out a ton. And without further ado... and I guess that's it. So, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys later.